Welcome back to the IBFP. Here's your host, Boxing New.
Welcome to another edition of the Unbiased Q&A with the IBFP, and I'm here with my co-host, Spicylicious. Say what's up, Spicylicious.
Hey, it's Miss Spicy, y'all.
Now, Miss Spicy Boxing in the building, I call her Spicylicious because she tastes like sweet butter. And look, let's break it down honestly and objectively as possible. And we get the first question of the day from my brother. He states, in your opinion, who do you think can shine bright if Canelo Alvarez takes a significant break from the sport of boxing? Now, as you know, Canelo Alvarez is injured. He could be out for up to a year. And so, before I give my take, Miss Spicylicious, who do you got taking over the sport of boxing? Or who could potentially do it? Who do you got?
I think it would be Ryan Garcia to me. He's already popular. Haters are already writing him off against Tank. And to my knowledge, he's the first boxer to be endorsed by Gatorade. Man, if he wins this fight, his star power would go through the roof.
And I agree with that point. You know, for me, I have Errol Spence, Vergil Ortiz, Joyce, and Ryan Garcia. I think all of those guys are very interesting fighters. I think all of those guys could potentially do something special. I mean, if Ryan Garcia knocks out Tank, man, he would just catapult. Everybody expects him to lose to Tank. I've been seeing people writing off Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia is already immensely popular now. What would happen if this man stopped Tank? Whoo! He would go through the roof. If Joyce stopped Fury or Usyk or anybody, he's already climbing those ranks in that way. Vergil Ortiz, he's free smoke. He got a lot of guys not even want to look at him. If this guy gets a great opportunity, who knows what Vergil Ortiz can do? And Errol Spence Jr., man, this guy has already shown a lot of potential. Texas Stadium, Cowboys, he got a lot of backing. I mean, hey, Errol Spence could do special things as well. So I can't wait to see any of these guys, to see if one of these guys can pick it up and Canelo Alvarez is absent. But look, let's keep it going. The next one comes from Charlie, and he states, what are your thoughts on Crawford-Spence situation? Do you think the fight happens this year, next year, 14 years from now? And based off your previous poll, who's to blame for this? So look, I'll give you my answer first. I'll just say, I think the whole Crawford versus Spence situation is unfortunate. The sport of boxing deserves this fight. I don't want to see another fight not happen like Joshua Wilder. That don't make any damn sense. We need to see the best fight the best. But what I will say is this. I do think the fight actually happens either in December or January. That's my opinion. I don't think November is even possible. We're already in October. I don't see that happening. So as time goes on, I think it's likely to be next year. But I'm still holding out a little bit of hope for December. Who's to blame? I don't know exactly because I can't trust Mike Coppinger 100% in his sources. According to Steven Espinoza, he said, don't believe everything you're hearing. So I'm a little hesitant. But I will say this. From what the information that I have to say it looks like it's the PBC holding up everything. It appears that Al Heyman is holding up everything. That's what it appears. I can't say for certain because I'm not trusting the sources 100%. But from the appearance at this point, it appears to be Al Heyman. It looks like Errol Spence wants it. It looks like Terrence Crawford wants it. It looks like it's just business.
See, I think the fight will happen next year. I mean, it's already October, and the fight hasn't even been announced yet. So I don't think it's happening anytime this year at all. I think PBC and Al Heyman is to blame for all of this. You know, honestly, I think that they're just trying to nickel and dime Bud Crawford.
All right. And there you have it from Spicylicious. My God. All right, let's get to the next one. Alexis basically states, the Dmitrov Bivol versus Sordo Ramirez prediction. Spicylicious, who you got?
I got Bivol. I think, ultimately Bivol's boxing skills are going to outweigh Sordo's power.
Okay.
Plain and simple.
Okay. Me personally, I think Sordo is a dangerous fight for Bivol because of his size, because of his power, but I have to go with Bivol as well. Skills truly do pay the bills, but I would never write off Sordo. I think he has a chance, but I think Bivol is a much better fighter than people give him credit for, and I think his skills will show up in this fight. He's going to need it. Let's get to the next one. The next one comes from my brother Mark, and he states, who are some boxers you consider already Hall of Fame worthy. For me, there's three names that come to mind first and foremost, and I'm sure there's a lot more right now. There's a lot of guys in the sport that may already be Hall of Fame worthy, so this is no disrespect by not mentioning them. I'm just going to name the first three names that come into my head, and that's Usyk, Canelo, and Inouye. Those three guys, to me, they've already done enough to get into the Hall.
And for me, it's going to be Canelo, of course, Usyk, and Chocolatito. All of these boxers have put in a lot of work and accomplished a lot.
So, look, let's keep it going. The next one comes from my brother Jesus, and he states, who do you think gives Shakur Stevenson the biggest fight at 135, so maybe even the hardest fight? Who do you got, Spicylicious?
I think it'd be Isaac Cruz for me. I think he would be Shakur's toughest opponent. I mean, he's young, his pressure's relentless, and I wouldn't be surprised if Shakur does a repeat of the Nutcracker if this fight ever gets made.
All right, and for me, I just got to be honest about it. I think Vasyl Lomachenko and Devin Haney give him the biggest run for his money. Shakur Stevenson is used to dominating guys. Who he has, quicker reflexes than, who he can outthink in the ring. If you get a guy like Lomachenko and Devin Haney, those guys are going to make Shakur Stevenson have to think in the ring. So it may take a thinker to beat another thinker. But we'll see. The next question comes from my brother, the one and only Flame on 24. And he states, when should a boxer move up and challenge themselves? I'll go first. I'll take this one. In my opinion, there's really three categories for this. And the first one is, if a fighter can't get big fights in his weight class, he needs to move up and challenge himself. If a fighter's struggling to make weight in his weight class, he needs to move up and challenge himself. And a third one is, if this guy is a legacy-based fighter and not a financially based fighter, he needs to move up and challenge himself. So a lot of guys stay in the division because they feel like the divisions they're in are glamour divisions and they're looking for a massive payday. But if a guy said, hey, I already got money, it's not about money for me, I'm looking for legacy, I'm putting that first, then every time that guy wants to move up, I know he's in search of something special. So I'm always going to support a legacy-based fighter. What do you got, Spicylicious?
I think that makes sense. To me, it's a little bit different. I think a boxer should move up and challenge themselves when they've either become a champion and they fought everyone in their weight class that is considered a tough challenge. I said only then I think that it makes sense to move up.
All right. Much respect. The next one comes from my brother, No One Survives. And he states, why don't DBN, Ego, Akaka make videos on how Demetrius Andrade's walls are closing in? Spicylicious, talk to him.
I think it's because it doesn't fit their racist narrative. To them, all black fighters are perfect. They're unbeatable. The list goes on. They look at race instead of looking at what a boxer has actually accomplished.
I agree. All of these channels are in their feelings. They ignore all of the facts. Think about it like this. They try to use Demetrius Andrade to shame Canelo Alvarez. Say, oh, you're ducking this guy. How is Canelo Alvarez ducking a guy who's accomplished nothing? Think about it. In this last 12 months, Canelo Alvarez has fought more world champions than Demetrius Andrade has fought in his entire 13, 14, 15-year career. So think about it. This guy's been fighting for over a decade, and Canelo Alvarez has fought more world champions than him in 12 months. Think about that. That's insane. How are you this way? How are you, and you're blaming Canelo Alvarez for not fighting you? Like, Canelo Alvarez is focused on legacy. He's focused on greatness. He's already been undisputed, four-way world champion. The man's legacy is cemented in the Hall of Fame. He doesn't need Demetrius Andrade. Demetrius Andrade, if Canelo goes out and knocks out Demetrius Andrade in this next fight, everybody's going to say it was a cherry pick. They said Dimitri Bivol, an elite prime undefeated world champion in a higher weight class, was a cherry pick. What do you think they're going to say when he smokes out Demetrius Andrade? They're just using this guy as a tool to try to shame Canelo, and you can't shame greatness. But look, let's keep it going. The next one comes from my brother Chris Gutierrez, and he states, what's your thoughts on Blue Blood saying that Mayweather will still beat Canelo Alvarez today? Spicylicious, what do you got on this?
He's clearly delusional. They're not even in the same weight class. Canelo's best is at 168, and he's undefeated in this class. And Canelo has grown leaps and bounds since that Mayweather fight. So, right now, he's quick. His power would absolutely destroy Floyd.
And look, I'll tell you this. I'll summarize it. Blue Blood Sports TV is a garbage channel. He's a fanboy. He's his own source. That should tell you enough right there. But I'll tell you this. If somehow Canelo Alvarez and Floyd Mayweather were in the same weight class and they both, were able to make that fight in some kind of way, I'll tell you this. If it was possible, I don't believe it is, but if it was possible, I think Canelo Alvarez, the fact that he would not be handicapped with the catch weight, and the fact that he has elite level experience right now, the fact that, he's on another level at this weight class. Canelo Alvarez has been dominant in his run at 168. He has not had a fight at 168 that was not dominant. Period. So I think he smokes Floyd Mayweather. I think he stopped him. And I think Floyd is one of the greatest fighters to ever live. He's one of the best defensive fighters I've ever seen. And I have a lot of respect for Floyd Mayweather. But I think there is something to be said when you face guys at their best. And if Floyd ever fought this guy at his best, he would get smoked like a turkey. Let's just be honest. The next one comes from my brother Jonathan. And he said, "What's up, Nuke? Do you think Joyce can beat Usyk or Fury, since both of them are so much faster than him?" Now, I'll take this first. I'll just look at it like this. Both of those guys are going to have a speed advantage over Joyce, and both of those guys, in my opinion, would win early rounds against Joyce. But I don't think Joyce is looking for early rounds. I think he's looking for a knockout. I think he's looking to hurt these guys. I think he's coming with bad intentions. So, in my opinion, I think Joyce would simply wear these guys down. He has a motor that doesn't stop, and they can't hit him with anything that's going to deter him. He's not like Anthony Joshua, who's already been stopped before. This guy's going to keep coming and coming and coming. He has an elite chin. The guy has a lot of pressure, and all he needs is one good solid punch to land to just bother these guys. Joyce is the type of guy with good enough skill set, unlike Deontay Wilder. He's a complete fighter. I think the only thing he has against him is the fact that he's slow. But at some point, these guys will wear down. He'll catch up, and the fight will get close. I think Joyce definitely has a chance.
I agree. I think Joyce can be both of them. I mean, Fury and Usyk can be quick, but Joyce's pressure is relentless, and that pressure will ultimately be Usyk and Fury's demise, because Joyce has the stamina. Yeah, he's slow, but he keeps on going, and whenever he's gonna continue coming at them, and when he does and lands, they're gonna go to hell.
And look, I'll put it like this. When you look at it, I'm not going to 100% say that he's going to beat those guys, but I think he has a very good chance, and he's definitely going to be competitive. But look, let's keep it going. And the next one comes from my brother Alberto, and he states, "What are your thoughts, Nuke, on ESPN's pound-for-pound list and some of their analysts having Canelo at 5 or 6 under fighters that haven't fought in a while? Also, ESPN analysts have taken him completely out of the list." Now, I'll go take this one first. Is anybody that doesn't have Canelo Alvarez right now in the top 3 of their pound-for-pound list is extremely biased. Canelo Alvarez is undisputed and undefeated at 168 pounds with a dominant run in his weight class. Him losing at 175 in a weight class that does not belong to him, yeah, he shouldn't be pound-for-pound number 1 because of that loss, but it doesn't take away from his accomplishment, and it's not like he lost in his weight class.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I got Canelo Alvarez still at least in the top 3, in my opinion. And if anybody took him off the list completely, they're obviously biased, haters, and fanboys. Spicylicious, what do you got?
I think that list is ridiculous because it's obviously biased. I mean, Canelo moved up to a higher weight class because he was trying to chase greatness. What has Bud done? He's been inactive for almost a year. And what about Errol Spence? He's only unified in 1 weight division when Canelo has done it in 4. I mean, come on.
And Canelo's undisputed. Errol Spence has never been undisputed.
Exactly. It makes no sense.
So, a lot of these guys are fanboys, but at the end of the day, men lie, women lie, but the facts don't lie.